I bet none of y'all niggas even knew Jermaine Ortiz fought yesterday. But here's what I will say. That's annoying about the game right now as far as boxing goes. I don't think that the people that actually report on boxing, I'm putting this in air quotes, even care about boxing because you never hear anybody talking about a schedule. You never hear anybody talking about who's fighting. You never hear anybody talking about who's actually fighting. You don't hear anybody talk about, you know what I mean? You don't hear anybody talking about, oh, hey, Jermaine Ortiz got to fight. Then we got Kid Austin coming up. We got Keyshawn coming up. We got this dude coming up. We got this dude coming up. Here's what Juntel is not, here's what people that are actually fighting are doing. All you ever hear about is Tank, Devin, and Shakur, which, and in reality, people only ever talk about these people from a racist standpoint. They don't even speak on them from about boxing. It's either race fans hating on Devin because now all of a sudden everybody's a PED sympathizer. We got a bunch of old black dudes, OG black dudes, whatever. We got a bunch of old black dudes and Mexican American reporters talking about how Ryan how he needs to come back. Bernard Hopkins looks crazy. They're all talking about the same things. Ryan needs to come back and do this, talking about strategies for the cheater. But I'm seeing people making pages on Instagram talking about, oh, Devin is soft, the blah blah blah, making pages that have nothing to do with boxing. Then you got people who are talking about Tank, how they're saying Tank doesn't need to take certain fights because black fighters don't sell when they fight each other. It doesn't make money. It doesn't make sense. Same thing with Jaron Ennis, saying that Jaron Ennis should fight some other Randy instead of trying to get the Bud Crawford fight. And now he's about to rematch with Karen Chukajan, which I hope that he does cut off the ring and stop him because that fight, he does need to redeem himself a little bit. You know what I mean? He does need to redeem himself a little bit. So I'll say I do want to watch just to see how he performs against somebody who does move like that. You know what I mean? Personally, I'm here for it. But, we'll go to the amateur. But, even with that being said, you dig what I'm saying? I just, right now, boxing is in a weird, dry place because all of these grown men are acting more like fangirls instead of acting like people who are supposed to be
all right, gentlemen,
reporting on the sport.
Protect yourselves at all times.
There are a few exceptions to the rule of people who actually speak on boxing the way that it should be spoken on, whether it's in the manner of reform, you know what I mean? Whether they're speaking on it, I got to change my bar, or whether they're speaking on it in a manner of reform, meaning, oh, I'm an idiot. Whatever. I'm such an idiot. But whether they're speaking on it in a manner of reform or they're speaking on it in a, just from a critical standpoint, where they're being critical of the media, which, I'm also here for that. People that are on here just speaking about boxing from a standpoint of my guy can do no wrong, bro, that's gay shit, brother. I'm not gonna lie, that's whack shit. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. No one's trying to hear that, you know what I mean? So anyways, Jermaine Ortiz, he fought last night. He stopped his guy. Honestly, I'm glad to see it. I love to see it, you know what I mean? Personally, I love to see that. He boxed out of his mind. He handled that fight the way he was supposed to. He walked down the guy who knew he was better than. And I don't like the fact that politics have it to where Jermaine Ortiz cannot get a win based on how his boxing style normally is. You know what I mean? He likes to box and control things and, he likes to use his jab. He likes to use his feet. He likes to train in rhythm. These are things that he just likes to do. He likes to fight in rhythm. These are things that he likes to do. When you find someone like a Teofimo Lopez who got a contra, everybody agrees it was a robbery, bro. Some say controversial, I say robbery. when you fight somebody like that, who he's trash, but in the sport he's a main character. So they're gonna give him more of the benefit of the doubt because you don't want to fuck the money up again. They already gave him another chance after he shit the bed against George Kambosos. So the fact that they did Jermaine Ortiz that dirty, you know what I mean? I feel so bad for him because it was the same deal with Loma, where the Loma fight was very close. Don't agree with how wide the scorecards were. And even I thought that he even did enough to win that fight. He did come on. Loma did come on in the second half. But even with that being the case, I felt as though Jermaine Ortiz did enough to win that fight. You know, that's more debatable than the T.O. fight. To be honest with the T.O. fight, T.O. couldn't do anything to cut the ring off, you know what I mean? And then after that, right, they robbed Jermaine Ortiz. And then they know they wrong because of his next performance against a lesser opponent than Jermaine Ortiz with Claggett. He gets walked down by Claggett. And he can't cut off he not only cannot fight this dude off of him, but he gets walked down by Claggett. He gets caught clean by Claggett. And I don't think that Jermaine Ortiz would ever look like that against Claggett. See what I'm saying? So, you know, it just goes to show you, and that's the one thing I do love about boxing is that it's the theater of the truth. When people finally do lace them up and fight, you know what I mean? Then we can start talking again. But right now, as far as journalism, the things that people are trying to talk about, the things that, you know, right now the race fans are trying to run the media. They're trying to oversaturate the sphere with a bunch of hateful content that has nothing to do with boxing. Even comments under videos of people who may have gotten a controversial, or not even a controversial, but who may have gotten a decision win against one of their favorite fighters, or whoever may have beat their favorite fighters, and no one ever keeps it about boxing. Boxing is about race, nationality, and pride in that order. That's just the way they treat it, at least. Because the people's talking points never have anything to do, ever, with boxing. People's talking points are pretty much always race related. And you know what I mean? It's annoying that that's the case, but I mean, that's just the case. But now that we understand that and that we're here, you look at somebody like Tim Bradley or some of the announcers for ESPN where they already got caught up for their matchmaking statements and talking about how, oh yeah, it's all about matchmaking, it's all about matchmaking.
Here we go, round number one, scheduled.
Bad matchmaking is what got Jared Anderson, messed up in that fight, which is like whatever that means. I mean, I understand styles make fights; they always say that.
Don't go to the refrigerator.
But now you got
time to get back.
Top Rank looking bad, and then you go and you listen to their commentary. If you go and listen to their commentary of some of those fights where you got fighters that are on the list of, you got fighters that they got the complexion for the protection.
Discipline to stay on the outside. You look at them, you say,
if you hear the way they talk about or talk over some of the work that their opponents are doing, and then you see like how the scorecards look, but the eye test doesn't match what the scorecards say half the time. And then you listen to the commentary from them versus another network or another promotional company's commentary. You're like, yo, this doesn't even look, or this is night and day difference. And you're starting to see the cracks in the game be exposed right now in this dry period. So I really hope that. Well, honestly, I think that the right side of history is going to prevail. I don't think that this type of nonsense is going to just hold forever. I think that we're just in a dry spell right now. But when these fighters finally do come together and fight each other, no one will have a choice but to be honest. No one will have a choice but to say, you know what? Same thing with Bud and Arrow. No one had. People were saying, "Oh, Bud is this and that. We never seen Bud do this. We never seen Bud do that. Bud is on this side of the street. Bud is on that side of the street." Man, Bud beat the brakes off Arrow, and I'm an Arrow fan, right? But even though I'm an Arrow fan, I'm a boxing fan first. So I say, okay, yeah, he beat the brakes off him. That fight was ugly. It's on YouTube now. If you don't believe me, if you never seen the fight for whatever reason, if you were living under a rock, that fight is on YouTube. Now go and this is what I love about fights. This is the only thing I love about fight building and people crashing out on the internet for views. Go listen to what people were saying to Bud and about Bud before that fight, and then look at Bud's victory lap and interview tour after that fight, and how he shut niggas up. And that's the thing I do love. So with people talking all this craziness about Devin, Shakur, how they were talking about Bud, I see, like, for instance, Shakur and Tank fight. I think that fight might look like how Bud and Arrow's fight looked. With Shakur's career, it's been panning more out like Bud every single day, right? Extremely gifted and talented fighter. Not as popular for whatever reason, and eventually he just says, you know what, fine, I'm Twitterson, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever y'all say I am. But when he was getting ready to be a free agent, and they were asking Tank about fighting him, Tank was like, oh, you know, when have we ever seen him do anything outrageous, whatever that means, right? He said we've never seen Shakur Stevenson slip a punch, whatever that means as well. He said that we've never seen Shakur, we've only ever seen him just step out, right? And you know he doesn't believe that that's the case, but he knows how dumb casual fans are, and he knows how thirsty people are to put out anything that they say. So he's willing to misinform people because he doesn't want to take the more risky fight before he gets all the baggage claimed. So here we are with this bum ass Lamar Roach fight. This is everybody. This is the media's fault for allowing people to get away with this, because the media has such bias and there's such fans of certain fighters. Man, we've let Tank get away with robbing the bank so many times. I think honestly, after the Isak Cruz fight, enough was enough. The Rolly fight never should have materialized. I don't care what nobody say. The Rolly fight never should have materialized. Alright, the Ryan fight was what it was, because, you know, dude wasn't on steroids at the time. He couldn't have been, because Tank made him sign a dehydration clause. A contract that had a dehydration clause, and because that's the case, he couldn't keep on the extra weight that would have helped him mask the PEDs. So he had to come in clean. Plus, who knows how that testing and stuff was. But there were always suspicions Ryan was on PEDs. That's the reason why Tank made him be enrolled in VADA and was like, yeah, we're gonna fight next. And then he took the Hector Luis Garcia fight first, while Ryan was coming, you know, doing his VADA testing. So he basically drew out the testing. He tricked Ryan into drawing out the testing, so that way he could guarantee a clean fight. It was smart. It was good strategy. You know what I mean? That whole camp from Eddie Reynoso's camp is juiced up. They're literally the juice crew. You know what I mean? Canelo got caught being on PEDs before the Golovkin fight. Oscar Valdez with the mediocre T. Shout out to Champ Side, but Oscar Valdez with the T. He said he had some T and it had PEDs in it. You know what I mean? Then here comes Ryan, who in reality we don't even know how long he's been clean. Because before the Duno fight, dude was slow, didn't have the timing, he didn't have the power, he didn't have the speed, you know. And then before the Duno fight, you see all of these videos coming out of him hitting these bags as fast as he can. Right, because bro, honestly, nobody thought that he was gonna beat Duno. That was the reason why he was like, oh, they said that, bro. Even though Duno is mid, he's a journeyman, right? I don't know. I don't think he was a journeyman like that at the time, but you know, he got knocked out. He lost to a few people. He lost to Frank Martin. He lost to Ryan. But when he came out for the Duno fight, it was a 180-degree turn. It was a complete transformation. You dig what I'm saying? So we don't know how long. If I had to guess, I think he's been dirty since the Duno fight.
With a right hand, left hook combination.
And then when he put on more weight, it just got more egregious to where now people are asking questions. And then you had Eddie Reynoso, like, hey, he won't come to train. He won't this, he won't that. But yeah, he's coming in jacked.
And the bell rings,
so I think that he got the PED plug, but he wasn't training like he was supposed to because he was on PEDs. He was like, man, all I got is a hook. I'm on PEDs. And I honestly think he's been dirty since the Duno fight. And when Tank made him come in clean, he looked drastically different. He looked mid, he looked slow, he looked all of these things. They say he was weight drained, but no, he was just not on PEDs. So anyway, You got a lot of
Sutton's doing a poor job. There's no other way
people
to
who are
really say it. I
defending
mean,
Tank
he's
for
sitting there
robbing the
in
bank
tracks,
for
they
so
committed to
long.
being a counterpuncher.
I don't think the Rolly fight should have been a thing. Realistically, once Shakur came to 135, he really fought people who he just was like, okay, fine, I'll fight these people because the Tank fight hasn't happened or the Devin fight hasn't happened yet. Mind you, he wanted to fight Tank before he became a free agent. He was like, Tank Davis, let's run the fight, whatever. Then somebody interviews Tank, and Tank's like, oh, we never seen him do anything spectacular. He's on the other side of the street. That was another thing he said. You know, he's on the and it was because the reporter was like, yeah, he's on the other side of the street, huh, Tank? Yeah. Giving him outs for just nonsense and BS. Listen, bro, I don't care what any of you clowns say. Tank knows that's his most difficult fight as of right now because Devin's at 140, and I don't think he wants to fight 140 Devin. Because I think 140 Devin smokes him, but I think Shakur can smoke him as well. You know what I mean? Tank is a hell of a fighter. He's a stalker. He's all of these things. But the problem is his competition hasn't shown us how good he needs to be. Now, Shakur is obviously an elite fighter. He's taken on some very dangerous opposition. Power punchers. Quick, twitchy power punchers. He fought Oscar Valdez for that belt, unified at 130. He moves it to 135 because he couldn't make the weight for Conceição fight. He destroys Yoshino. I forgot who Yoshino gave problems to, but he did give somebody problems. He destroyed Yoshino, fights Artem, destroys Artem, fights De Los Santos with an injury, beats him with one hand. And the injury was later confirmed, but he's done things that no one wants to fight Shakur's opponents, first of all. And the dude who did you ever watch the Burchell versus Nakatila fight? I did, and it sounded like Nakatila was hitting that dude with a baseball bat. Not to mention, bro, he's destroyed and slept the dude. And this is what I was saying. I said, bro, if you watch the opponents of some of these fighters fight in their next fights, and you see how dangerous they really are, right? Watch Tank's fight opponents in their next fights. All of them got cooked by Randys. You know what I mean? Not Ryo's not a Randy, but when the bottom bowl happened and Isaac Cruz and Rolly fought, it looked dumb, bro. You know what I mean? It looked dumb. Obviously, Rolly got knocked out, but Isaac Cruz is not the new Mexican Mike Tyson, bro. He just swings hard and he's short, so he's a difficult fight for a lot of fighters, especially black fighters, because we're a lot more lanky and we're a lot taller. That's just how it is. The style is annoying. But bro, the bottom bowl goes down and you see Rolly get destroyed. Then he gets destroyed by like a 50-year-old man. He wins via robbery. I don't know how that happens. Then we don't hear from him for some time. Then we see Isaac Cruz. He fights Raya Valenzuela. Gets beat the fuck up easily, right? Rayo Valenzuela is beating his ass. He's taking his punches. He's not worried about the dude's power. And he's outboxing him, and he's putting power on him. Like, he wasn't worried about dude at all. You know what I mean? You watch O'Shaquie Foster versus Conceição. O'Shaquie Foster got robbed in the first fight. Well, Conceição was a gold medalist, bro. He won the gold medal the year that Shakur went to the Olympics, and I think he got silver.
It's become a big story now.
So it's like, bro, look at the difference in opposition. Look at the difference in styles. This is the same thing that when Bud and Arrow were gonna fight each other, I wasn't as hip to, even though I was aware that Bud has so much exposure to different styles. They didn't try to protect and gatekeep him. Even though he was on top rank, he wasn't really a main character, although he was so damn good. They were trying to push Lomachenko to the point to where Lomachenko had losses, and they put him over Bud and Andre Ward as pound for pound #1, bro. Andre Ward retired undefeated, Bud still undefeated. Man, Loma had a loss, or I think he had a loss, and he only had like 10 fights or something crazy. Lost to Salido, and you know what I mean. And then when he fought against, he fought against Salido, he lost.
A great combination.
Then they put him against Randy's in the meantime, against people that everybody beat.
How about a return to center?
Devin Haney wanted his fade in 2019. He turned it down.
He missed with that headshot.
They had him fighting Richard Comey and stuff. Linares was probably his most valid competition, the last samurai. He was, because he sat him down. Linares was dangerous.
Do just that.
And
Find the target, get
you know,
the
they were
combination
pushing these
working,
people
land both punches.
on some other stuff. So
Tagged by a hook.
you know, then when Bud was able to move around, when he finished up and suit top rank for that racial discrimination stuff,
Magic Man's
he was able to move around, bro. He got busy, instantly started sleeping all the 147 pounders. Man wasted no time collecting the Infinity Stones. He had one. I think Arrow had 3.
Matter of fact, he's starting.
Bro, he got in there with Arrow,
because he's
and he made Arrow look like he didn't even belong
The
there.
more he does it,
He stopped Sean Porter. He looked like Sean Porter didn't even belong there. So again,
make a change.
the exposure to these styles is what makes all the difference. Shakur has fought elite level competition. He fought in the Olympics. My question to everybody watching this fight before we close this up: what is it that Tank can do, right, that Shakur hasn't seen? And what is it that any of Tank's opponents have done that we haven't seen Shakur already do?
Who would have ever thought it? Two guys like this.
Ask yourself these questions, and obviously styles make fights, but if you break down Tank's style, he's a stalker, he's explosive, he's a power puncher, high guard, he walks you down. He walks you down. We only really had to see him box one time. That was in the Luis Garcia fight, because Hector Luis Garcia was willing to stand his ground. But other than that, he stalked everyone he's fought down. They were afraid of him. They flinched from him. They were worried about his power. We've seen Shakur fight deadly power punchers. Nakatila is probably one of the nastiest power punchers I've ever witnessed, ever. Like the type of beating he put on people. I was just looking at his next fight. I'm like, man, you know what I mean? I'm surprised that the dude was able to withstand that fight for so long, Burchell. But the way his punches sounded, it was different than anything I've ever heard Tank lay down on somebody. So that's ultimately where I'm like, okay, everybody got to stop glazing. And I need the people that actually understand the sport, or who even care enough to just pay attention to the sport the way it's supposed to be paid attention to watch the fight and to, come to some sort of a logical conclusion. Because honestly, I'm tired of seeing people just talk about nothing or talk about racist stuff, and they'll do it covertly. Sometimes they'll do it directly and advertently, or blatantly. Man, love boxing, but sometimes, man, this shit get tiring, bro. I can't even lie.